would understand how much joy they bring to people's lives, how much joy they bring to their teachers' lives, their peers' lives, their parents' lives, their families' lives, their guardians' lives. You just bring so much of your character, good and bad, to our lives, and we love every minute of it and every part of it. And so we wish that you would recognize that more in yourself.
Are there any ways you think that students could push themselves to better understand or better help out with the community, or any way you could do that as a teacher?
I think as a teacher, we just need to be able to recognize that as much as possible. And as a student, I just think that you have to be open to it a little bit, that you have to make sure that you see those smiles and you see those people just looking at you and enjoying being around you, and not be so hard on yourself, because sometimes we have that anxiety of, I don't know if I'm liked, or I don't know if people want me around, or something like that, but we always do, and we just love you guys so much, and you just bring so much fun and excitement to our job and our daily life, and that's why we do what we do, is really because of the joy that we have being around students.
I really wish students understood how much we're rooting for them to succeed. I can see why students perceive teachers as judges, people who seem to think their position is to sit in evaluation of them and to point out everything they're doing wrong. But I really don't think that most people who get into teaching get into it for that reason. They get into it to nurture and facilitate the growth of students, especially the things that students want to do. I also would hope that students understand that when they're frustrated with the school, or they're frustrated with school processes, that we're often frustrated too, that many of us, at least I'll speak for myself, were not the kind of young person who loved school. I didn't run out of my front door every day joyous that I got to go to school. That was particularly true in high school, so I understand that. And I want students to understand that, that we're here to push students, and sometimes that's uncomfortable, but that's part of it. I want them to understand that failure is one of the absolute necessities to growth, but that we're here to catch you when you fall. And if you're having trouble, reach out. That's what I want you to know.
Wow. Oh man. Just give me a second. I mean, you guys, just multiply and divide, okay? It's just multiply and divide. It's not that hard. You can do it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The big thing that I wish that our students would understand is the perspective that teachers, parents, and elders have when things are communicated. I think a lot of times as a kid, you or we or us think about the moment and what's the instant satisfaction for doing something. And as an elder or as a teacher or as a parent, you communicate things in terms of where you're going to be in the future and the means behind it. And so the thing that I wish that people understood was the reasoning behind what's expected.
Being 40 almost, I look back to my former self and I think about how I was and the words and actions I chose back when I was a kid, and I wish that they understood like how their words and actions can affect people, in a positive way or a negative way. When I think back to my middle school and junior high and high school years, they were formed a lot by bullying. I was bullied a lot for being overweight. And that caused me to not only like have low confidence and a poor self-body image, but like it stuck with me until a decade ago when I started losing weight and being healthier. It was a constant thing. I just felt ugly and fat all the time, and it was but it affected me in more ways than just feeling like that. I had In social interactions, I wasn't very confident, things like that. But I think you have a lot of power with your words. You have a lot of power with your actions. You know, you can change people's lives. You can change how they feel about themselves or how they feel about the world with just your decision to use kindness instead of hurtfulness. When you're, you know, it's a lot of power with your words or with your actions. Helping somebody, they drop all their stuff, instead of laughing at them, help them pick it up. Yeah, somebody's picking on somebody else, standing up and saying, "Hey, man, don't treat that kid like that." Yeah. Saying positive things, saying hello to somebody in a hallway seems like such a small thing, but there's lots of kids who don't feel noticed, don't feel like they matter, and for you to say hi to that kid every single time you see them, that makes a difference with that kid. They feel like they matter to somebody at least, and then maybe they'll start mattering to themselves. Yeah, and that's kind of how I live my life now. Is I really think, and I'm not perfect, you know, sometimes I don't say or do the right things. But I try to think about that a lot when I reflect on my days, which I do every night. I try to think, did I represent myself and my family? Would my son be proud of me if he knew that I had said something or done something, you know, or my daughter, would she be proud of me if she knew that I'd said or did something, you know, and that's kind of how I base it off of. But I try to just do everything I can with my words and my actions to make people's lives better, to strengthen them, to make them understand that they matter as people, to help them decide what they want to do with their life, you know. But those are just little things, and I wish kids thought about that more, because it's not what they do now. I mean, you know, kids are kids, and kids are going to say hurtful things and do hurtful things. But if they realize the power within that to change somebody's life or affect somebody's life in a positive or negative way, that carries on to adulthood, you know, and it took a long time for me to switch that mindset in myself, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job at that now. I feel like I'm a pretty good person. But sometimes it doesn't, and that's when you get the world we live in right now, where you have lots of people who are divided that use their words to affect people in a negative way, use their actions to affect people in a negative way, and they feel justified by that. And I always think, you know, if you're making somebody's life worse with your words or actions, there's really no justification for that. Yeah, no matter what they've done to you, you can choose to go a different path. Yeah, and so I really wish kids knew that. I wish I had known that when I was a kid. That your words and your actions really hold a lot of weight, and you have to think about it in more of a serious way. Like, is me saying that to that kid going to make their life worse? Is that really what I want my purpose on this planet to be? Do I want to use the time I have to make people's life worse or make their lives better? Yeah, and it can just be little small things. So that's what I wish kids knew.